No limit world we live in.
Yo, welcome to the No Limit Podcast, also known as 101 101. Sit down and learn a lesson from the Prince of Originality, No Limit Eddie, and the King of Getting Hourly, soon to be a salary. Any Ball, what up?
What's up, dude? What's going on?
There's a ton going on. What are we going to
There's a
find out
ton
tonight
going
on No Limit News?
We're gonna find out if Kevin Cooney's still at large. He still has not responded.
Straight thief.
He has not responded. Kevin Cooney has not responded to a single message. However, Colin, his co-host, has.
His little brother.
Is that his little brother?
No.
Oh.
But it's definitely his little bro. Like, if they had that type of bro relationship, like, he would definitely be like, that's my big bro. Kevin.
And he said to us that he wants to join our show.
Careful with that wire.
Careful with that wire. Okay, yeah.
Don't go anywhere near that.
All right. We're going to find out about a man about 500 gallons of sperm or something.
On No Limit News tonight, we're going to find out about a man who has donated 550 loads of sperm to British women to have children.
So last week we had a Charlie sighting. I wonder if we will get a Lily sighting right now. Because she is approaching. Just let her go off.
Here comes baby girl.
Baby girl might be coming.
We're also going to find out about the next naked bike ride in Philadelphia coming this August. But first of all, is Kevin Cooney still a bitch or what?
Yeah, dude. I cannot believe after everything we've posted that he hasn't said anything.
Well, he's
one, really playing Mr. Hollywood.
He's playing Hollywood Kev.
He's
playing his role. He's playing his role as
Yeah.
Hollywood Kev. Now, it's weird though because the first thing that we ever posted about it, he viewed, and you screenshotted that, so we know that for sure that he already knows what's up.
He's seen it. He knows that him and Colin are talking about it.
And it wasn't like it took. And what's weird is that, you know, you say you've never seen our stuff, but it took one thing for us to post, and you viewed it
immediately.
Instantly, bro. Like, now you're acting like you don't see any of the shit we're sending
sitting
you.
on
But
his
the
couch
first
at
thing
home.
that we posted, you instantly viewed it. There was 85 views on it. You were one.
He was in his shit for Enterprise, and his phone buzzed, and it said you got tagged in a post, and he said, "What the fuck?"
For Enterprise. In your world, he works at Enterprise?
I don't know. He probably does. That's what I think. I think he's got like some kind of day job, like he's an Enterprise guy or
Yeah, most likely.
something like that. So this, obviously, if you watched last week, you know all about it. This called for the revival of the instant beef board. So
Yes.
obviously,
Revival's a great word.
Kevin Cooney has to go right on. And I did just go right to Target this morning to buy this.
Dude, he brought the level out today. Check this out. You bring this bad boy out right here. You bring this thing out.
That's
And
how
you
know it's plugged.
automatically know what you're doing with a hammer and a nail.
Yep. That's the reason I brought it. I didn't even need it because I don't even care if it's crooked or not. It just needed to be up. I wonder who's going to follow Kevin, but I feel like that is such a prime name. It
really
might
is.
never come down.
It really is. And the thing is, if we never had the instant beef idea, who knows if we would have ever talked about this dude. And thank you, Kevin. I really just want to thank you because I think the instant beef board is one of the most original things. I know you don't know anything about originality, but the most original things the No Limit Podcast has ever come up with, the instant beef board. It's been around since, I don't know if it's episode 1, but we brought it in during season 1 that started 3 years ago. 3 years before your podcast started.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it was on the first episode. I think that
I don't think it was.
the whiteboard was always there, but we didn't instantly have an instant beef. I think the first instant beef was Not Afraid fans.
Yeah.
That was the first
Not
instant
Afraid
beef, which was
Eminem
on the
fans,
first
yep.
episode, and then yeah. So I think we might have had a few after that made us.
Dude,
make
I
the
would bet
board.
he definitely likes Not Afraid.
He
That's
probably
what he
does.
uses to get pumped in the morning to go to
He
Enterprise.
probably does. He probably wears like like that like rock merchandise.
Yeah.
No, dude. I was just gonna say something. Shit. Fuck. What were we just talking about?
The return of the instant beef board. It wasn't on the first episode. The first one
Oh
was
no! You said Kevin
Not
Cooney
Afraid fan.
instantly saw my story, right? Because he did. I tagged him in it. He instantly saw the story. I just want you to answer one question, Kevin, and I want that question.
Sure, it's the same question I got.
No, I want the honest answer. I want you to either either come on our show for a brief segment, like we can do that.
Yeah.
Or
because that's something we've been wanting to do.
Right.
Anybody in the world who's got beef with us, we would love you to come on the show.
Correct.
Absolutely love it.
Or you can post a video on your own page, not about a wedding plan, but about why and honestly why you saw that we did a podcast. You saw the name, you checked it out, you were like, I'm going to still call my show the same name as these guys.
Or, if you didn't do that, the other end of the question is, you did no research before starting your show. That's what you're going to tell me, I'm supposed to believe?
That's honestly pretty no limit if you did.
If I really do believe that, and that's the truth, that might be even worse, dude. How do you do zero research before starting a show into whether there's already another show running? Because I can tell you this, if he did say ours and he still chose to, let's say he would have sold someone else who was on a higher level of fame than him with the name of No Limit Podcast. You think he would have still chose to? If Snoop Dogg had a show called the No Limit Podcast, would he have named his shit the No Limit Podcast?
He thinks fuck these guys. Who cares about their silly show?
If he saw it, he's thinking fuck these guys. But also another thing about it is, listen, I've done my little. It's not even a deep dive. The research that I've done into it is small time, and you can find out almost everything you need to know by just a little small time research. Number one, that podcast, he might have started it. He might have had some idea, but it's owned by a media company. So we'll get into some more things about that fact that it's owned by a media company. It's owned by a media company called Big Night Media, which is owned by a guy who fucking DJs at bars, HRLY Music. That's how far I got to the connection. So maybe he didn't even come up with the name, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he didn't even come up with the name. Maybe fucking Big Night Media came up with the name. And maybe they're giving him all the ideas for the podcast. You know what's one episode of their podcast that really, I feel like, nails that hammer that they had to watch ours?
What?
There's an episode called A Limitless Christmas.
No way!
Bro, our thing from the very beginning of the podcast was that every time there's a holiday, we're doing a special episode. And we had the Halloween one.
That's obviously, that is... Everybody has, every fucking TV show has a Halloween episode. It's like, that's the reason we did it. But yes.
Why do I feel like our first Christmas one was called that, A Limitless Christmas, or something like that?
It could have been. I don't know. I really don't know.
See, now the thing is, he viewed your thing immediately, but also in the back of my mind, I do have the idea that maybe, truthfully, he's just a pawn in the game. That Big Night Media is the one who made the name, and maybe we got to ask them whether they did any research or not in the beginning.
Honestly, I gotta be really honest about the name. When we started the show, I could not believe that there was not a famous No Limit podcast. Like, I can't believe that was not already a brand. Like, it is so obvious. So the fact that you're gonna if you were gonna start a show that was called No Limit and didn't research to see if there was 10 other 1,000 shows that were like it, is pretty dumb.
Exactly.
Because that's such a common thing, No Limit.
And I'm not even hating on his hustle or where he, or the level that he's built himself up to. But what I'm saying, bro, is you knew that you had some type of following, whether it was from TikTok or whatever you had before. You knew that you had a couple tens of thousand people that knew your name, right? And you saw our stuff, if you saw it, and saw that we had maybe a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 if we're lucky, that know our name. And you said, fuck these dudes. Like, you know who we are? Exactly what him and his little brother used to be. Because I did a little more research. They used to have a show called The Men's Room Podcast years ago. Years ago. That was just them two, probably in front of one camera, just like we are, on their own setup. Years ago, they had it. You knocked that down. It wasn't a ghost.
I know.
Years ago.
I didn't realize how close I was to it.
So imagine if some dude with your status would have rolled through town years ago and said, "Oh, I kind of like this. I'm gonna call my podcast The Men's Room." How would you have felt about it back then? You would have the same. I hope you would have the same attitude. You would take some pride in your brand that we have about it.
Dude, I don't even care if he keeps the name. Fuck the name. I don't care about
I just want an answer to the question.
I just want an answer to the question.
Exactly.
I really
need an answer to the question.
I am reverberating my voice.
Watch that chord, bro.
this guitar is making my voice like echo. It's bothering me.
Okay, smash it over my head.
Yeah, that's all I want is an answer to the question. Like I said, he can keep the name.
And it's funny
That's
though
fine. I
too
don't give a
because
shit.
immediately we got a response from his little lackey brother. And I
Right,
said that
that's-
to him when he responded immediately. I said, you can always count on the lackey to give a response. Absolutely can
He was
always
being
count on
fucking
him.
whatever. Like, he was being fine.
No, at the end of it, he kind of understands like that it could be mutually beneficial for us to kind of beef a little bit and then build it up. We were talking about possibly doing a rap battle because honestly, I challenge him. We can rap battle for the name of No Limit Podcast. That's facts. I'm so down to do that. Like, I guarantee victory, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guarantee victory. And he doesn't know.
Guaranteed victory.
And he doesn't know, bro. And he doesn't know because he thinks that I just went down his page and found that old rap shit and said, oh, rap battle like it's a joke. He don't know my fucking past. He don't know that I will flame him up. Yeah. Only rap battle specifically. He didn't really make songs.
Oh,
he
really?
went and battled. Yeah. Bro, I will hibachi that dude.
Hibachi. I'm gonna do a paranoia.
Flames and chops all day.
Give me your
So
flames and chops.
that's number one. That's facts. If you want to set that rap battle up, Colin, I'm so down. We could do it on our show because I could tell you exactly what happened. When he responded, he hit up the dude Kevin for sure about it, and the dude Kevin treated him like a little fucking punk brother and said, take that response down, bro. Don't respond to these guys. And he did right away because he's a lackey. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
That's funny, man. I just thought I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And shout out everybody who posted like Kevin Cooney's a thief or he stole a podcast.
Yeah.
That shit was so funny.
Shout out to everybody to No Limit Nation. Like I told him, I said,
sure.
He was like, you got to get your views up. Let's talk about that real quick. You got to get your views up. I said, let a beef start brewing though, and you'll see No Limit Nation come out the woodwork, which is facts, which is absolute facts. Let a beef start brewing with No Limit, and you'll see the nation fucking pop out the sewers.
Like going on their YouTube page, have you ever like looked at the comments or like people like interacting with their stuff?
Some of them are very questionable. Like they look like robotic comments, like "Great job, guys" emoji. Like, questionable.
Yeah,
especially
that's
the
like what I wrote on our podcast
view...
page, like on the Apple, when I wanted to see how the review system worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I wrote like these guys have great chemistry, like smooch. You know, like I wrote something like that, but it literally says from Daniel Goddard.
Like the 1,000 view podcast that had 9 likes, bro. Like that's very shady. Like I don't.
There's no way.
And number one, as far as his response of like, oh, you gotta get your numbers up or whatever. That's just a hilarious response. Number one, because it's so generic, and it's like, man, you really fucking put some time into that one, didn't you?
But it's not about numbers. It's really about
it is though.
It's not.
And here's what it's
about if people are interacting.
Right.
We talked about fucking. I said something about sports logos on your leg. Kill yourself. Shoot yourself in the head or something. Right. I said something. I don't know what I said. But then somebody posts like, damn, like that's crazy. I got one. Like, and then I'm going back and forth with them on Twitter. Shout out Tim. But
yeah, like that's a real interaction. Someone posting their Phillies tattoo and saying, "Yo, I heard the podcast this week. Like, I got a Phillies tattoo." Not a fucking comment from Ann Wilson. Great job, guys.
That is what I question about their podcast, is how many people are genuinely reaching out or posting on their own accord about the No Limits podcast, you know, that they can say to us, get your numbers up. That's why I think they buy likes, they buy views, they buy followers, they buy all this shit.
To an extent.
Then they say, get your numbers up. It's really not about numbers. That's obviously the end goal, is getting your numbers up. But as long as people are watching and interacting with your shit, dude, that's all.
And I would say that buying likes also includes more than physically, because everybody can see when you go on them stupid ass websites, like, and you just literally buy for a price likes or shares or something like that. It's so obviously fake. But also under that umbrella is paying guests to come sit on your show. And here's what I want to talk about as far as talking about getting numbers up. Because I crunched a couple of numbers.
You crunched the numbers?
I crunched a few
numbers.
You
went to the drawing board.
I crunched a few numbers. Number one, you type the No Limit Podcast in YouTube. Yes, fucking Kevin is going to come up. His channel first.
But that's because of subscribers.
Out of nowhere, 15K subscribers, like, I don't know. Seems a little fishy to me too. Boom, channel comes up first. But what's the first video to come up? It is the No Limit Podcast, episode 58, New Year, No Limits, 11K. That's the first video that comes up. Whether you searched it before he called his podcast that, or you search it right now that he's been doing the pod for 5 months, the first video that comes up is episode 58 of the No Limit Podcast from Philadelphia. not Boston.
Because that's a video that got real traction, real interaction.
Exactly.
Where the comments blew up.
There was real drama
blew
surrounding it, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's not even that I love. And it's not even that I love that. Like I do love that episode is so no limit. Like it's just that's no limit. That's another thing, bro. Nothing about your brand is even no limit. Like we actually do no limit things. If you go back through our episodes, we got an episode where we're fucking carrying out fake dead bodies before the podcast starts. You're talking about wedding day with your wife, though. Nothing you do is no limit.
Wait.
You don't even remember that?
Yes, but why is their show called the No Limits Podcast?
Exactly.
Is there no
There's nothing
reason?
Crazy about it. Nothing crazy about it.
I mean, not that our show's crazy, but we just do we'll just do random stuff.
It's basically
like you just
like
said.
they take all the little sayings that we kind of say like limitless and all this, but then like apply nothing to it. And back to the numbers thing, because I don't want to get off this, because this is a really good flame that I got. This is like that Elon Musk thing that he made, the flamethrower. Like, I got that fucking cocked, locked, and loaded, ready to go right now.
Cock lock.
We're just talking about the most viewed episode of our podcast ever, right? Some kid who asked us to be on the show, he came on in a New Year's suit, acted fucking crazy, acted no limit, said no limit things, and we let him, and dropped it. Originality. Didn't pay anybody to sit on our show to gain that traction. Bro, you had your second episode of your podcast ever, the second episode ever, you had, and I'm sure paid him to sit there, Bob Maneri on your show. For those who don't know, Bob Maneri was on the Full Send podcast. Full Send is one of the biggest brands in North America, started by Kyle Forgard, and Steve will do it as a member, but he didn't start it. The other guy was Jesse. Jesse kind of has moved on now, but now they have a Full Send. Now they have a Full Send podcast. No, I'm just letting people know that I'm really in this world. I know everything. Like, I'm in this world. I'm researching this shit. I exist within this world, so I need to know these things. Like, You need to know that there's a fucking podcast that's been going for 3 years called the No Limit Podcast. Bob Maneri was on the Full Send podcast. One of the biggest podcasts in the world. And he came on your show. Literally, he came on your show literally right as he was being kicked off of the Full Send podcast. So one of the biggest stories going on in North America is sitting on your chair on episode 2. That's fishy number 1, just to have that type of guest on episode 2. You know you paid him to sit there. And you should have paid him to repost the shit. Because as we just talked about, an 11K view podcast with some kid we know who asked us to be on the show, and we just said, go ahead, be crazy. You had one of the biggest stories in North America at a timely manner, like the week after it happened. One of the first shows he ever did talking about it. And you did 2K views. Like, come on now. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. That's the whole thing in a nutshell, bro. How can you have that? A guy with 3 million followers who's got one of the biggest stories going.
I think you're throwing that around a little loosely. You think that was one of the biggest stories in North America?
No.
I didn't even hear it. I don't even know who the people are. I know who Bob Maneri is from TikTok.
If you're just talking about podcasting in general, definitely one of the biggest stories in North America. I know.
I guess even though I do a podcast and I really like podcasts, I only listen to a certain few. Like, I don't just listen to like everything I can get my hands on. You know what I mean?
That's another thing about podcasts.
I also listen to old podcasts. I listen to old podcasts more than I listen to new ones.
Let alone theirs. Even like comedians who are like a little, lower down the peg and they got their thing. I really just think like, who's listening? Who's out there really tuned in? It's like you said. I listen to like 3-4 podcasts. Now, every now and then, what'll happen is like I'll find a new one that kind of is similar, and I'll maybe rip like an episode or two. And if I really like that one, maybe I'll come back to it again. And then I guess the best ones that I really like end up being the new ones that I come back to and listen to over and over again.
That's why podcasts are so hard. Because if I ask you, why do you like your favorite podcast? You just like, I just like it. Like, it's just, people just have to like this. They have to like the setup we have. They like to have the way we talk. They have to like what we talk about. They just have to enjoy it. They just have to enjoy. Yeah. So to get people to give you an hour every week of their time is rare. Every single week. to give you that hour is rare.
Exactly.
It's really rare. Like, not a lot of people.
Even if it's not an hour, like 20 minutes. Are they going to give you 20 minutes?
Yeah. Even then just check it out.
And then just like I said, how you like it and then come back, same thing with the minutes. Like sometimes you'll listen to 20 minutes of a show and then you come back and listen to the next 20. You listen to the next 20.
Yeah.
Especially people who, like, there's certain jobs you can have that really give you the ability to, like, rip podcasts and talk shows and shit like
That's
that.
how I got into podcasts. When I was in 8th grade, I started filing papers at my mom's job, under the table, like bullshit job, just like like I started in the summer.
You'd have headphones in. Just
tired of my music. I had a iPod Touch, so that's when I had to like download these episodes and stuff. And I started listening to like Bill Burr, the Monday Morning Podcast. But this is before.
That's a real good one. I like.
This is before he had kids. This is like 2010. So like this is when he was like still like. The whole podcast would always just be him ranting for an hour, you know? Now it's huge. Now it's gigantic. I mean, it was like big then, but like Mark Maron was one I started listening to because that was like one of the biggest podcasts at the time. It's still a huge podcast, but like now there's so many. It's definitely fallen off the totem pole of popularity, but it's still hugely popular in the grand scheme of things. Like he exists off his podcast. He makes money off his podcast. He had Barack Obama in his fucking garage. You know, like his podcast is high profile. Barack Obama is a crazy guest to have. Coming to your house, you know? I think like a helicopter like drove over his house and like Obama like got it. Like it was crazy.
On a rope.
And then they had a helicopter surrounding it the whole time.
Really?
You're just living on his block? Like you live on this guy's block?
Really though? Like that really happened? You're not making that up?
I'm 99% sure that happened.
That's pretty insane.
Did you ever watch your mom's house?
If we got a guest to that level and he brought a helicopter, I would say, can we just do the podcast on the helicopter? That would be more safe. Be more. Dude, how do they wear them microphones?
Yeah, but you hear like it's not like they're like it's not crystal clear audio.
No, what we would have to do is like you know how they wear the headset with the microphones in the helicopter? Those kind of cancel out. Because probably what the settings on those is like the microphone is on such a low input that you can only hear the person's mouth directly next to it.
That's never gonna happen.
Us doing a podcast on a helicopter, no limit.
On a maybe on a helipad.
Don't ever say never on No Limit.
That's true. That's true. I just had a point that I was going to bring up, and I forget.
You're talking about Bill Burr's kids?
Oh, no. Did you ever watch Your Mom's House? With Tom Segura.
No.
And his wife.
I heard of it. I've heard it.
So it's a huge podcast. Huge podcast, right? Now,
talking podcast. That sounds like podcast.
I used to love that show. Watch every week. And I was invested because they had like characters, right? That they always brought up. And I'm talking like people they found online that they would always play their videos. And their commentary on it was just so funny. And then they got some of these people on the show. I really enjoyed that show. I watched it for years. And then they shows just change. And then you fall out. And then a new audience comes in. And you're not part of what they're doing anymore. And you just have to bail out. And you don't find it as interesting as you used to. So you also have that thing in podcasts. Like, I feel like the audience, you have your diehards that stay the whole fucking way from episode 1 to the last one. And then you have people who started for the first 100 and dipped out for 400 and came back at the last 300. You have people who just stopped listening after 20.
That's how I was with the.
It's an interesting
with the
field.
Joe Budden podcast. I know you probably never really.
I've
seen
never
seen it all. That's what honestly that show right there is what inspired me to even start a podcast. And I used to listen to that shit, the whole thing, 3-hour episode every week. But I would do it like we said. I would break it down. I would probably watch like an hour on Monday, then on Tuesday when I found some free time, I'd knock out another 45 minutes. Like usually every week I'd finish it. That was what inspired me to start.
I know this is like a Joe Rogan is one of my inspirations for starting a podcast.
Bro, I gotta say it to you. You bring up Rogan a lot. Bro.
Well, because it's like a big podcast, and that's where I started listening to podcasts. But now you can't watch his show. Like, and I'm not saying like in the grand scheme of things. I'm saying like he's just insufferable to listen to. Like I could not.
It's overkill to you now?
No, it's just different. I mean, the only ones I listen to anyway are the Protect Our Parks because I want to listen to the comedians just be funny for 3 hours. But if he is having like a sit down conversation with somebody, it's just fucking bullshit.
You don't like it?
It's just bullshit. I feel like they play the role on that show of this is like free form, whatever. But then they spin what they think so hard. Like it's not really for like he's spinning what he's like he's like describing with like energy like what he is like going off on. Like he's not just for like the fuck of it anymore, you know? And then once you start making that kind of money, dude, I discredit your intentions. And that's just how I am. Maybe it's a flaw. I don't really know, but like if you have a contract to do this show for $100 million, you don't think there's somebody going, but if I give you $100 million to do this show,
you can only do it a certain way.
Do this.
Now,
you have to do that.
He always has claimed that a big part of his contract with Spotify was that they couldn't do anything like that, but I would agree.
Of course he's going to say.
I would agree that it has changed a little bit.
Joe, you can tell the public that this is how it actually went down, but this is how it's really going to go down. Because $100 million is a lot of talking, especially for
like
someone who's got a family.
Like 250.
So, but that's one of the podcasts I started listening
to.
Because in 2010, it was way different. That was just them sitting on the fucking couch with Joey Diaz, and they were just going crazy, right? That's when it was fun.
Speaking of that, you know what?
That's another show that sucks.
I don't mean to go in. Maybe this whole episode of our podcast just sounds like commentary on other podcasts, but dude, you know where he really changed recently? I don't know if it happened recently,
Joey Diaz or Joe Rogan?
Rogan. That I just saw recently. Dude, he didn't throw him off, but he kicked Diaz out early. Did you see that?
I did. I didn't watch the episode. Again, because like a Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz podcast that came out 8 years ago, I would have listened to it all 3 hours straight right then and there. Day one it came out. The second I saw an Instagram post like Joey Diaz is on Joe Rogan, I'm listening to it right now. Like that's how I would have been.
Facts.
I haven't even listened to the episode. I have no interest in hearing what either one of them have to say at this point.
Now his is a podcast I pop back in every once in a while and check out.
Joey Diaz. I go back and listen to old episodes. He's already done his best podcasts. I don't have time to listen to Uncle Joey's Joint. I'll go back and listen to The Church because I also think him and Lee Syatt, like I think them two together are funny as shit.
Lee Syatt. I love when he says his name.
Yeah, he's got so many good guests, and the way he did that show with like the kickoff and the music, and he's like commentary over it.
What is it? The Church of what?
The Church of What's Happening Now, dude. That might be the best podcast ever.
That's a fond memory, dude. Speaking of that,
bro,
riding down Atlantic City. When I had no other choice but to play poker there for reasons I might never say on the podcast.
That is crazy.
I would listen to Joey Diaz on the way, and that's just fond memories.
Yeah.
And especially because Joey Diaz gives me like Atlantic City vibes.
Yeah.
Like
he's from North Bergen, New Jersey, so he's from the area.
Bro, you just brought up family, and I don't want to move past this. Imagine you now having a kid. Dude. A little son, a little Ghana.
How old?
Well, we're going to get into the differences. Like, if you had a kid today, we're both 26. So,
right.
If you had a kid today, it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be horrible. By the time he was, like, really toddler kid, you would be in your 30s.
Yeah,
you'd figure it out.
Yeah, you'd have figured it out.
But just imagine, because the other day, actually not on my ride to the podcast today, the ride on the podcast last week, I just looked to my right. There's nobody in the car with me. I'm riding quiet. And I'm thinking, like, what if I just had a kid? Because my mom, shout out to my mother, because I'm just starting to realize, like I'm just, as my age now, her experience of teen parenthood is now just starting to kind of click in my head. Like the 17-year difference between me and her has always been a thing that I thought about and that it was interesting that she's kind of young compared to me. But I look to my right, and as a 26-year-old, I'm thinking, what if there was a 9-year-old kid in my passenger seat? Like, that's a whole nother world. If I had a kid today, if I had a baby, it's whatever. But what if me, Ed Rem, 26, had a young Ed Rem who's fucking 9? 9! I got a sister who's 11.
You pick him up from school to come here to do the podcast. I'm like, yo, what's up, little Ed? I said, you want a soda? I got Coke. I got soda. I got Sprite.
We were thinking about that. You were like, he'd be here. He'd be sitting on the floor. I said, dude, he'd be at school. I'd have to pick him up from school.
Pick him up from fucking school. And then come here and do a podcast. Dad's going to do a podcast.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that too. Like, I'm 26. I got time to do a podcast.
Dude, honestly, you know.
My mom had a 9-year-old kid.
Now that we're talking about it, it's funny, dude. Some of the, like, best memories I've ever had were like in my dad's car, like going places and like listening to music.
Yeah.
Like we used to just vibe out to like 90s like alternative music and like drive to like my Uncle Johnny's house or like pick my mom up from work, go to the store, hit Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, he'd get a coffee, I gotta get the donut. Or we hit McDonald's breakfast, you get the hash browns, you're eating the paper with the hash brown. Yo, if you never ate the paper with the hash brown, you're tripping. That was the mix.
That little greasy paper.
That just a little, you know? That was
Bro,
that was a morning in 03.
I was expecting the back of the chair to come way quicker than that. I still didn't hit it by the time my eyes were.
That's a pretty low back chair. I think it's actually getting like back with time.
I would say thank you for the design of the new set. One request, bro. Can I get a new chair?
Yeah, we gotta go shopping for some chairs. But let me just say this. I really don't know. It would be horrible.
Having a 9-year-old kid? Terrible.
It would be terrible, yeah.
Awful.
4 years away
it
from
seems
being
like
a
it
freshman
would be,
in high school.
There's some aspects of it that would be like fun. There's some. Very few compared to the normalcy of your life just being ass.
Bro, you're going to be 29 years old taking them on a high school tour.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to fucking be here, dude. You can't go alone. Like, what the fuck? You're 14. Take the bus.
Yeah.
What am I going to do for you? You know, that's like my vibe. Like, I have no time for a kid right now, dude.
It's crazy. I mean, maybe
I did enough for you already.
Especially if you're listening on audio, you can't really visualize it. But just like, if you're watching the video, at least, like, look at me and just imagine a 9-year-old version. And me having to hold his hand and just have him all day, every day. A 9-year-old version of me.
A little buzz cut and shit.
Buzz
you definitely
cut.
have a buzz cut.
Buzz, for sure.
Like you back in the day. Always rocking the buzz.
Buzz boy.
Yeah.
Facts. Like, just imagine that. Me,
that
right here,
so
9-year-old
fun.
me. I'm walking around with him. This is my responsibility. And it's been my responsibility for the last 9 years. It's not like he just popped in at 9.
I've never thought about parenthood this in depth before. Like, to actually think about, what if there was actually a child on an iPad with headphones in sitting there right now? Be quiet.
It sucks, bro. Our kids are going to have to be iPad kids. Like, we could say all we want that we don't want them to be, or we try to keep them off of it, but it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Guaranteed. My life guarantee. I will not have an iPad kid. I sure as hell will never, to any age or degree, have an iPad kid at a dinner table. That is the most egregious.
You're already in dad mode. No phones at the
I've
table.
been like that since I was 14, dude. Like, growing up, when it was dinner time.
You like a nice dinner where you really talk and have interaction?
It was dinner time, dude. Like, nobody was on their phones. We all sat at the table. We all bullshitted. We all talked about their day. If someone had an argument, they had the argument at the dinner table. Like, the dinner table was just every day the family commenced at 6.
Commenced.
All here at 6 o'clock for dinner.
Big Ed the General.
Yeah, parents at the ends of the table. My brother always sat. My other brother sat on the outside. I sat alone on the other side.
You complaining, why can't we have chicken cutlet again?
My mom comes out with the biggest plate first. Comes right on my side. Gigantic mountain.
Mashed potatoes through the roof.
Plate 1 of 2. Plate 1 of 2. There'd also be a second plate. And then everybody, the whole first 5 minutes of every dinner was, God damn, Dan, how do you eat that much? The first 5 minutes of every single dinner was always this.
And that's
Look at that plate.
Yeah.
Bro,
look at that plate.
And the whole my dad would be watching TV, my mom would be doing dishes, my brother would be hopping back on PlayStation, my brother Eddie's playing guitar, and I'd still be at the dinner table.
Often.
Just still going. Lights are off. Sitting in the dark, finishing my fucking meal.
Bro, so you never ran into the problem of, as a young ball, you better finish that or you can't get up from the table?
No.
You ever experienced that?
No.
You always finished it?
Never.
You always needed more?
Bro, when I was a baby, I used to crawl over to the dog food bowl and eat the dry dog food. Whatever I got my hands on, the munch.
You actually refused to get up from the table.
I'm the OG munch. What'd you say?
You actually refused to get up from the table. Rather than being told, if you don't finish that, you can't leave.
I think we might have talked about this before, but like being a fat kid and like you're out at like a party, like specifically like a barbecue, and it's like, who wants a burger? Big boy, I know you want another one. Yeah, I know you want another. And a hot dog.
And the sickest part,
big man.
The sickest part, you did.
Yeah, You always did.
You wanted that,
but you were so embarrassed.
But you didn't want to say it.
Yeah, you were like, I can't step up in this moment and say that.
We were both big boys.
Isn't it so funny to get to a place in your life where that doesn't matter, but like at the time when you're a kid, you're like, I can't say I want that burger, but I want it so bad. I want that burger.
There's like 2 more left. You know everybody's eating already, so only 2 people are going to get a second burger, and you're fucking 9 years old. Like, it's got to be me.
How did you feel when someone was like, yo, big man? How did you really feel growing up? Someone was like, big man.
I don't know. I can't remember like that deep into it.
Yeah,
But I do
either.
remember exactly what we were talking about at like party situation. So you go to somebody's birthday party, and it's like pizza and soda type deal. You so bad you want to dick like 4 slices and 3 sodas.
Oh, yeah.
But you're just a little embarrassed to do it
Dude,
at the
my
bowling
soda
alley.
renaissance is going so strong.
You're back on it?
I drink so much soda, dude.
Yeah.
Root beer. I love root beer.
Is
root
that
beer-
caffeinated?
I don't know.
It's actually for building a soda drinking habit, an uncaffeinated one is good. Then you
I
won't
drink a
get
lot of
jittery.
ginger ale. I do drink a lot of ginger ale.
Ginger ale is a slapper.
Bro, ginger ale will get me through a bad day. If I'm sick, I go out and buy a 2-liter ginger ale.
Dude, I've been making this crazy drink. You know LaCroix?
Yeah.
Either
I thought it was LaCroix.
It is LaCroix, actually. I just found that out recently.
Apologize.
I always thought I was being high-class citizen by saying LaCroix.
LaCroix.
But it is LaCroix.
You know LaCroix?
And I said, if it is LaCroix for all that, why don't you just call it LaCroix and say the X, too?
LaCroix.
LaCroix!
That would be like the energy drink.
Yeah.
Come drink LaCroix.
If he never died, Steve Irwin could have had LaCroix energy drink.
For some reason, it just reminded me of Bam Margera. Do you see all the shit that's happening with him?
Yeah, dude. Shout out him. Dude, we could probably have him on the podcast at this point. Like, he would. Like, if we sold it to him, like, no limit.
Philly
like, this
sponsored
is
for
what it
ECW. Like,
he would, yeah. We should try it.
at FDR Park.
We should
Like,
definitely try it.
babe, you should come down to FDR Park and fucking skate. Brr. Like, just be fucking
I gotta
dumb.
say, yo, that girl that recorded the song with him, she's bad.
Ew, dude.
She's bad.
She have bars, though. She was going in.
Xanax bars.
What is, yeah, she's literally like, pussy so good, say my own name when I'm fucking.
Okay, if she's faded like that, her pussy probably is good.
Yeah? You think so?
Yeah, because like she just probably forgets about everything. Just,
It probably feels so
it's
good
all
to her.
natural.
Like,
It's all
if she's
natural.
dipping out on heroin and you're fucking, it probably feels so good to
Oh,
her.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Bam was out to drink with his mom. And I don't know if his mom like called the cops on him and she just like kind of charaded like, hey, we're having fun. And then the cops showed up or like someone else did, but that did happen. Like,
That's
he
grimy.
left somewhere and like they met at a restaurant and then like cops showed up to the restaurant. What were we talking about right before that? We went from the mom thing all the way through having a kid.
A no limit circle that'll never go back.
Yeah, you'll never catch it. You'll never,
I just
you'll
said,
never
but yeah.
catch that thought.
It's gone. When was the last time that happened, though? That's been a while since it was like, that's never coming back.
It is.
Whatever that was. And that was
It
good.
has.
We're going to hear it back.
That's what sucks about it, because when you're the listener, you just heard it 5 seconds ago and you remember, so we seem so retarded for not knowing. But in
Yeah.
real time, we'll never get that thought back. You have written on here, is the backwards hat on a podcast a must? And I would say that it is. Because look at this forward. Like, if I sat with it forward, you can't see my eyeballs or anything like that.
The forward hat on a white dude.
I could do it like this right here.
just
Put it way up.
But you wouldn't. And wearing a true ball cap, normal.
Right.
It makes you look like Chris Kyle. Like, it makes you look like
Me personally or every white dude?
every white dude. You just look like
if you got a beard.
you look
facts.
like you're in, you remember that game Watch Dogs? And you're like hacking people's phones and shit with the trench coat and the hat. Like, you just look like you're like incognito.
And that's been this week's edition of Obscure Games by Any Ball.
Any bold a gamer. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think if you're on a podcast, every time I've ever been on the podcast, my hat has been backwards. Every time I've ever worn a hat on the podcast, my hat has been backwards. For sure. I don't think
Have
I've
you
worn a hat
had
in
a bad high lately?
Yeah, have you had a bad high lately?
Nah.
Yeah, I just wrote that. That's when I was just waiting for something to spark my interest.
I do think we could do a little dive on that, because the first time I ever had a bad high was when I was a sophomore in college. I was living up Temple, and it was weird because I just started smoking like pretty regularly, probably not every day, but at least a couple times a week. And then some kid said to me, I was out at a different college, and he was like, "You ever green out?" And I was like, "What the hell is that?" He was like, "When you just like smoke too much and you green out, like you start to feel sick." And I was like, "No, I didn't even think it was a possibility." And then like 3 days later, I
hate when
smoked. I
people
didn't even
talk,
smoke
dude.
too much, and I did exactly what he said. I greened out. I just started feeling nauseous. My vision, it wasn't blurry or anything, but it seemed like it had like a green tint to it. And I was just like, dude, if he never told me this, I don't think this would have happened. I don't think that my brain could have comprehended what this was, and it never would have even began to go this route unless you told me that it's possible to do this.
You know, I've been trying to like cut back on like smoking, but I always not always want to be high. I like the feeling of being high. Like I like getting stoned, especially like when I'm home.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
And
home
we
and
talked
I'm, and
last week
I'm,
about
and I'm playing
how
video games, dude, I gotta be stoned.
about how now you've evolved to you'll just take a couple hits, put it out.
Yeah.
Where back then you were facing the joint.
I would roll a whole blunt down here.
Yeah.
And I would just smoke, like I don't want to do that.
Smoking out the window.
Right. So like I don't want to even smoke. Like I don't even want to physically smoke. Now I'm not saying I'm never gonna smoke again. If I fucking roll a joint or someone enhance you one, yeah. But I just been on edibles, dude. I come home from work, I go upstairs, I eat an edible, and then after I get a shower, I eat something in an hour. I'm just cruising.
See, now an edible though, that is something that can give me a bit high, especially the homemade ones.
Nah, see, I just buy them. And then you just eat one, and you're good. I don't ever like go above one, because when you start eating like 2 and 3, that's when you start building your tolerance up, and then one does nothing.
See, now that's the thing about having a bad high. I think once you build your tolerance to a certain level, bad highs from smoking don't exist. It's not even possible.
No,
It's just it's
you don't
not
even
ever
get
going
high.
to happen.
You'll get high for 10 minutes.
Not even that, but you're just kind of like you're so used to that feeling that you're just never going to feel anxious or nauseous or anything because you know what's coming. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
One thing I would say, if you smoke like a nasty Dutch, that can easily give you a bad high or just nausea, and it can lead to a bad high just from regular nausea. I would say the
Dude, I've had
worst.
some horrible highs. Like highs where
What's
I
the
really thought I was
worst?
going to
What's
die.
like the worst? I don't want to know the worst method because you could say like piece of paper or something, like an actual thing you can purchase from the store, whether it was a paper, a Dutch, whatever it was. But it has to be like a real smoking product. Worst thing you ever smoked out of. Mine for sure would be a game leaf. You know games, the cigarillos, and you know how there's backwoods that come as a leaf? There's a version called a game leaf, which is still 99 cents. Now, backwoods are like $6. So they still make me nauseous because they're so strong on the tobacco, but at least at that price point, you know that there's some type of effort going into making them. But at 99 cents, leaves of tobacco, they literally had probably picked it up off the ground and sprayed it with fake tobacco. Like, it's horrible. It's the thinnest leaf. I rolled it up, smoked it, and immediately nausea overcame my entire body. Way back when I had that red whip, smoked in there. Threw up right outside the whip. Got back to my house, went in the yard because I was that nauseous and like didn't want to be in the house, like fucking faded basically, and was throwing up all over my yard just from smoking a game leaf. So nobody, please don't ever try a game leaf.
If someone's got a blunt and they like, do you want? I'm like, I'm good. I really don't. I do not like them.
But
I don't even see it. I don't even see like I don't even want to be high.
But have you ever had an individually bad experience with one particular blunt or paper?
No, I think blunts actually give me like a better high.
Or like one of like the first couple times you ever hit a bong, if you rip a bong too hard, bro, that shit gives you the feeling in your chest or your throat.
Dude,
that
it
burn
doesn't even
in
go
your
away.
throat.
It doesn't even go away. Like, you can
horrible.
just keep drinking water and it comes right back. Like you can really torture your throat on a bong rip. I actually did that recently.
It's horrible.
Dude, it was really bad. I was getting water after water and like it just wouldn't go away. Not that I was like, but like sitting there, I was like, man, this is really killing my high. Like this is really annoying.
Highs can get killed. Even though you can't get bad highs, I feel like the more tolerant you get, your highs can get killed easier.
Yeah, because you're used to it, you know?
I remember watching an episode of...
We said it last week. I said everything kills your high. Literally everything. Stubbing your toe would kill your high.
Instant.
Instantly.
Stub toe.
Stub toe, instant high. You can literally smoke. You can literally sit in your bed as comfortable as could be.
I could be on fucking heroin.
Get
Black tar.
Get up the piss, stub your toe, and you will immediately be sober.
Yeah.
Getting arrested. Immediately sober.
Dude, don't make me lose the thought again because it can't happen twice in one episode.
If it happens
But I
twice in one
actually-
episode,
but I
you
actually
gotta go
think-
play the lottery.
No, but I actually think that the next thought that I had didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about, so it's all good. Oh, there it is. It's back. Boom. Watching an episode of Fuck That's Delicious before. Action Bronson took a whole dab. Like a dab will get you instantly, like you smoked a whole blunt to the face. It takes 20 seconds. Set the rig up, heat it up, boom, hit the dab. In 20 seconds, you will feel like you smoked a 2-gram blunt to your face. He hits the dab, and then somebody does something, and a minute later, he's like, give me that shit back. You just fucking blew my shit. So his high was killed, even though he just ripped a dab, and he was going to do another one because somebody killed his high. It happens that quick.
Has to smoke from sunrise to sundown.
Oh, yeah, facts. He does.
You know what's funny about, like, smoking, and everyone gets so, like, food crazy? When I smoke, I do not get hungry. I'll get hungry way after.
True.
I get hungry way after.
True.
Like if I smoked at 4:00 p.m., I would get hungry as shit by 8 or 9.
If all you fat boys are tuned in, you didn't go make yourself 2 burgers after we had that conversation a couple minutes ago. Here's a weight loss trick. Smoke weed and don't eat.
Yeah.
It really does help you. Smoke weed, don't eat. You will be starving like 5 hours later, but that's because your metabolism just burned up every calorie in your body because you were hungry already after smoking the weed and you didn't eat anything.
Yeah, no, that's definitely been the case. I've never had like the I guess you could say you get the munchies, but it's like delayed munchies.
Yep.
You know, it's like way delayed.
But then once I start,
you can't stop going. Then you grab anything. You grab Tostitos, you finish the bag, you go in, you grab potato chips, you eat half of them. Then you go in and get cake, Oreos, you're like, let me heat up some ziti. You just start going balls to the wall.
25 hot dogs.
25 hot dogs. I went to Dollar Dalton the other night. I came to the conclusion for the rest of my life, I'm a 2-dog guy. 2 dogs. That's all I need.
Really?
Go to the ball game, give me 2 dogs and a beer. See ya. Thank you.
Dude,
I'll never go back up.
When I said the 25 thing, that's brought up because on Dollar Dog Night, someone asked me the question, how many Dollar Dogs do you think you could eat? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like if I'm just at the game and I'm hungry, or like I'm trying to eat as many as I can? They were like, you're trying to eat as many as you can. And I said, easily 25. And I'm dead serious. And they all said, no, you can't, no way. Bro, let's break it down. If I did exactly what we just talked about, which I mostly do, like I kind of intermittent fast, but not on purpose, every day.
So do I.
So if I woke up in the morning, did my whole routine, had my coffee, my caffeine, around like 11 or 12, I smoke. And I still chose not to eat after that. Then around 2 o'clock would creep around, I'd be starving. Let's say right there at 2 o'clock, I chose not to eat. But actually, if you were in an eating competition at around, let's say you were going to eat them at 4. At around like 1 or 2, you should eat like a little something just to get your metabolism going, because then you don't want to hit that instant wall where you would start doing your eating competition.
That happens all the time. Like
right.
when you're starving and you like go out to dinner for like a big meal and you're like, oh my God, I've been looking forward to this
you
all
eat the
day.
appetizer.
You eat the appetizer and like, damn, I'm cold.
Exactly.
I'll just overeat.
So, but for the principle, imagine I don't eat for like 18 hours and I smoke like 6 hours before I start eating these hot dogs. I really, truly believe that 25, especially if there was money on the line, would be very possible. Because I know that I could eat 10 before my hunger was satisfied, and then there would only be 15 left to win the money or whatever
15.
was at the end. Yeah, but in comparison to 25, only 15.
Opposite. I'm way the opposite.
Left.
And I'm not even talking about my ability to eat these hot dogs. I'm sure if I really wanted to, I can probably put down a good amount. I'm talking about the taste of a hot dog, bro. If I got through 4 hot dogs, I would really be sick, I think. That's why, like, people were like, you know, oh, I'm going to eat 6 hot dogs. Like, my friend was like, yeah, I'll eat 8 hot dogs tonight at the game. I was like, 8 hot dogs is gross. 8 hot dogs is so gross.
You're just dying to spend $8.
I remember one time I went to the Phillies game with my uncle. And I had 2 beers. But, you know, 2 beers at the game is like having 4 beers.
Yeah.
So I had like 2 Yinglings, and I had like 3 hot dogs, 2 hot dogs. Not Dollar Dog Day. I just bought them.
Is this story going to end with you holding your ass cheeks together, running home?
No. It's coming at the other end. I'm burping.
Nah.
I'm with my uncle. And, bro, I am just burping. And it got to the point where I actually got self-conscious about it. and like instead of just like burping, I'd be like
Stinky burps are crazy.
and blow it like, but not like that.
If your burps
Like,
stink, you need to check your stomach
Hot
acid.
dog and beer burps at the Phillies game are bad. When someone's got those real bad.
See, bro, I don't eat stuff like that. And I never would claim to be like the healthiest eater, but it just all my life it's just been that way where I feel like I've always just avoided things that gave me stuff like that. Like if I had a combo that ever once made me burp and it smelled bad, I gave up on that combo. I couldn't do dogs and beers. I couldn't. My stomach wouldn't accept it.
I love when it comes back up. Something good, and you're like,
I feel like I'm also very big on dry when I eat. Like most people don't like dry; they want moist. Like I like dry.
Moist. They like the moist.
They like the moist. The moist.
You like dry food.
Like dry. Yeah.
My dad cannot stand dry food. Like if we were eating dinner at the dinner
feel
table,
like dry minimizes like
and just a little
heartburn
dry
and stuff like that.
Just a little dry. Just a little dry. But that's like after he cooked it. Like he could not get like his shit like right. He was like, it's dry. He couldn't stand it. Too tough. Too tough. Well, you're a dry guy, huh?
Yeah, I am a dry guy.
That's weird. I
just like dry stuff.
Why?
I don't know. There's something about it. Like I do like sauces.
I don't like wet, but
I do like sauces, but I just lean toward the dry side, especially with chicken. Love chicken. Like I'd so much rather had the chicken cooked all the way through and like closer to dry than have it be like a nice juicy piece of chicken, but it's questionable whether the middle of it is all the way cooked.
Ew.
Like, yeah.
My brother said he ate raw chicken before.
Rather go to the dry side. That's pretty bad.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
He said
rumor has it it's still in his body.
That's a crazy thing to do. It probably tasted horrible.
I hope it stays dry for those bike riders coming to Philly in August. I'll tell you that. Because I'm trying to get out there.
That's so funny that the article said that they moved it from September because it's too chilly. You know that was a small dick problem.
So, as promised in the very beginning, we got a couple of no limit news stories for you.
I forgot about
Number one is that the next naked bike ride in Philadelphia, not like the next one happening. There might actually be one tomorrow in Mississippi. Who knows? But the next one in Philadelphia is coming in August. It's going to be a 10-mile, 16-kilometer for those Europeans, Philadelphia ride related to the World Naked Bike Ride movement. About 3,000 bikers will be there. And organizers say it hopes to encourage people to bike more and embrace nudity as a normal and enjoyable part of life. The ride used to be held in September, but the nude bicyclists said it was too chilly, with temperatures reaching as high as about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So in 2019, it was moved to August.
Our dicks are too
That's
small.
bad wording. Like someone got paid to write that article and they literally said, because now you guys are going to think I read it wrong or something, but they actually wrote, the bikers complained it was too chilly with temperatures reaching as high as 70 degrees.
But you're on a
Why
bike?
did you write it like that?
When you're on a bike, it's different. And you know what happened there? Probably at the National Naked Bikers Board meeting, and somebody was like, we should think about maybe moving this to August. And every guy was like, yeah, we should move it to August. That wouldn't be the worst idea I ever heard. I'm down for August. And then the next guy's like, yeah, me too.
I wonder, it's a 10-mile ride. Like, what 10 miles of Philadelphia are they going to ride through? Because I didn't see the last one.
We should do it.
I didn't hear anything
Can we just
about
sign
the last
up?
one. I'm sure we could just show up.
It would be so funny.
Forget signing up. I bet we could just show up.
It would be so funny to just ride with the smallest dick ever.
Well, that was the problem with September. That's why they didn't.
Just have no dick. And be like, embrace nudity and like just be in every picture.
Let's do it. We'll take a couple Adderall before.
And just have nothing.
Yeah. And while we do it, it's going to be in August.
Light switch
there's going to
dick.
be no sports. What we need to do is take a bunch of Adderall before we do it and bet on something. Like a lot of money. So we really got to think about it. And we're just riding so zoned in on that bet we got in.
It's going to be something stupid because that bike ride's probably in the morning. It's probably going to be like a soccer match.
That our dick just disappears.
But you gotta
A
get
union game.
Imagine putting that up on the Instagram, like in the morning. It was us butt naked, small dicks, with a bike helmet. We're like Naked Bike Ride Philly 2023.
Dude, honestly, it would be cool. What if we could organize? There is a fan out there of No Limit who was associated with the bike life whole thing, like back in that movement. You've seen him like DM us about stuff before, right? We should get in contact with him, get a group of them to come out
Start
with
our
us,
own?
and we'll all be naked, and they'll be hitting wheelies and shit. And, like, the dudes will be standing on top of the bike like this, where it looks like they're surfing. And
If we
just
do that,
butt naked.
we need like a drum line. We need a drum line because then people will really get nuts with it. They'd be like walking with their bikes.
You think Philly Elmo goes to the naked bike ride?
I don't know. I think how's that even allowed?
Naked bike
Our
ride?
children are gonna see the naked bikers.
I love
know
that it
that's got
says
people
like
to be saying
embrace.
that.
They want to embrace nudity as a normal part of life. If I went wherever you are,
You said it's 10 miles.
yeah,
So it's not like down Pine Street. Like
Yeah.
this is like a
could be
a
Broad
big
Street.
ride. Yeah.
If I showed up wherever you are doing that naked bike ride on any other day, but the day you had that, and I was naked, I'd be arrested. What are you talking about? Embrace nudity as normal life?
Maybe it's because they have to start saying it out loud to the public so people are prepared for it and be like, hey, just so you know, if you want to take your kids outside, there's going to be a bunch of naked. They're probably the worst naked people, too. They're probably all. I mean, they're bikers, though. Might not be so bad.
They should have good legs. They should, at the very least.
Yeah.
And it's probably men and women.
Probably a lot of guys. Probably a lot of guys.
You think there's anybody? Now we talked about small dick, and that's why they wanted to move it out of September.
if
because
you
it
have a
was too cold.
huge, if you have
Is
a
there
ham-
anybody with a hammer?
If you have a hammer and you're a biker, you're this day is circled
No,
big
but
on the calendar.
no, but see, that's an issue because like, what if your dick is so long that it's hanging down by the gears and shit?
The flex would be to tape it to like your seat handle.
For real, the biker shorts help.
Like it's a
For
water,
a person
like
with
it's like
that
a water
problem,
bottle. You
the
know?
biker
Like,
shorts are nice and tight. They keep you compact. Now we're talking about your dick hanging
could
down
you
by the
imagine
chain.
You had biker shorts on, but your dick was so big you had it like strapped to like the leg. That would be nuts. That would be uncomfortable. That sounds horrible.
I mean, I think it's just as simple as it's coming up in August. It's in Philly. We can easily get in. Let's get in.
I say we should at least go. I say
At
we should
least
at least go.
But I feel like in no limit fashion, if we go, we have to ride naked.
We'll get the rental bikes that are on the corner on 3rd and Snyder.
Maybe I'd go. I would wear biker shorts with the front left in and cut the ass out.
Like an assless chaps pair of biker shorts.
Like, I'm not really interested in showing my dick and balls. Let's be honest, bro. But I might show up fully naked, ass cut out of my shorts.
I think
That'd be
if everybody else was out there naked and I ate an edible, I think I can get out there and bike naked, bro.
You could.
Because you're on a bike. You're moving fast. Now is there a water meetup? Is there like a luncheon? Like that's where, because if I'm just in public, it like, you know, we talked about this before, I think. Like they go away for a while, they come back, they say pop in, they say hello to,
Yeah.
Pop goes the weasel sometimes, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just
Everybody's dick's a deadbeat dad. It's there sometimes. It's not.
So I couldn't be at my worst moment in front of a room of people. That's just humiliating. No one wants to see that. But if I was having a good day, I feel like a king.
Dude, speaking of dicks, how about this fucking guy?
Look, there's a lot of dicks.
This is British news. This isn't even American news. A sperm donor has donated over 500 times. Over. The limit is supposed to be 25. He purposely lied. Now, who knows the details of it? I am going to read a little bit from this news story as well, but he purposely lied in his sperm donation that he has now donated sperm over 550 times and is the father of 550
He
children.
lied about this?
No, he lied to be able to. The limit is supposed to be 25. You're supposed to be able to donate sperm and like create offspring with someone random who receives sperm donation 25 times. He lied and figured out a way to do it over 500 times and now has up to 550 children out there.
Now, is he like going to one clinic or is he like a serial sperm donor where he's just like hitting every clinic in Europe?
Let's see. Let me give you a read of this. Now, I didn't read through it
Because how do you
before, so
scam?
I don't know if it's going to answer your question, but we'll read through this real quick. The prolific donor, identified only as Jonathan M., under Dutch privacy rules, provided sperm to several Dutch fertility clinics, a facility in Denmark, and people he met through advertisements and online forums. So he was spreading his seed And he was spreading the ways that he would do it too. He went to several Dutch fertility clinics. He went to a facility in Denmark, and he also did it privately, personally, for people he met through advertisements and online forums. His lawyer, who he's now contacted to handle his case for him, said that he just wanted to help people who otherwise wouldn't be able to conceive. But the judge who heard the civil case said the donor deliberately lied about this in order to persuade the parents to take him as a donor. According to a statement from the court added the parents of the children are now confronted with the fact that the children and their family are part of a huge kinship network with hundreds of half-siblings, which they did not choose. It could have negative psychosocial consequences for the children. Maybe. It is therefore in their interest that the kinship network is not extended any further. So basically, they're trying to say that they don't want all this dude's offspring, who are half brothers and sisters, to ever really meet each other because they'll be psycho because of that.
That's an interesting take on it. This dude's like Genghis Khan.
See, yes, he is.
What happened with that, you think? Like, how long do you think that takes to break down? Like, everybody was related to this guy. How long does that take to break down?
Wait, that's part of the Genghis Khan lore, that everyone was related to him?
Well, it said, like, he invaded so many
places that he left his mark,
raped people, and just by like the thousands, so like they were saying, like, estimated X amount of the population had a relation to Genghis Khan or his bloodline somehow, because they were just going in and invading everywhere.
Yeah, so obviously the guy's identity is being very hidden. We don't know anything about him. Like, he's claiming that he did this just to help other people who couldn't conceive, which is, it's
he's a hero.
If that's really the true reason, I don't see why you should have stopped him. I do think that he went a little overboard with the 550. Like, maybe he didn't like the 25 limit and he could go up to 50, maybe 100.
I feel like that's not a lot. I mean, it is. But if you're like in the mix of a sperm donor thing and you like doing it, that's just a year of doing it. I spent 1 year of my life donating sperm.
That's more than one a day, bro. That's more than one pop a day.
Say you're that kind of guy. You're a pop a day guy. Or you want to go, say you get paid.
Well, I
get paid $50 to just come here.
Also, that's part of
it's on my way to work.
We didn't even think about, and they didn't say in the article. You do get paid for donating your sperm. And especially if you do it, like he said, like he would meet people personally, he probably had certain things about his genetics that they wanted specifically, these people that he met personally, so they paid him more than a random clinic would pay to take his sperm.
Oh, that's interesting.
He was trying to get to that bag.
Good for him. I'm sure he got paid a lot. That's probably a handsome payday. Say you get $50 for a load.
Yeah.
550 times. You do the math. You do the math.
I'd rather not.
Crunch the numbers.
Hey, that's been No Limit News today. Think that should be a forever segment? Think that should be a forever segment? No Limit News?
No Limit News? I thought you were going to say that's been it for the No Limit podcast. I didn't know you were going to say the news.
Nah, No Limit News. That's over with. We have one more thing written on the paper. Danny's Aunt's Triathlon, 3 question marks.
Oh, I wrote that because you said the bike thing. And it just got me thinking. I was like, so my aunt posted this thing on Facebook. She's doing a triathlon. It's a 12-mile swim followed by a 112-mile bike ride. And then a 2.5-mile swim. I'm sorry. A 2.5-mile swim, then a 112-mile bike ride, and a 26.5-mile run.
A full marathon at the end?
Dude.
I thought the triathlons cut the marathon short. They do the whole 26?
Dude, just think of the first thing is a 2.5-mile swim. That's a long
You might as well just keep going to England at that point.
That's a long, and then a 112-mile bike ride. The drive from here to Atlantic City is like 70 miles.
Yeah.
A bike ride for 112 miles.
You sure it's 112?
112 miles.
That's a bike ride.
112 hours, bro. And this is an all-day thing, but how could you just go from sunrise to sunset like that? Your body's got to be broken at the end of the day.
Well, you said 112 hours. I think it would take you some serious hours to bike ride 112 miles. Hold on, I gotta confirm this. Triathlon. What should I look up? Triathlon.
I don't know, dude.
Triathlon.
What are you saying? I'm a liar. No, the triathlon requirement.
Lengths.
What is it?
Lengths.
What is a triathlon? I guess it's going to say it's a bike ride, swim, and a run.
Lengths. Olympic triathlon. Is that an Olympic triathlon? Swim, bike, run? So an Olympic triathlon is a 1 mile swim, a 25-mile bike, and a 6.2-mile run. An Ironman, so she's doing an Ironman.
Yes.
Yes, so yeah, here it is. Ironman triathlon, 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, 26.2-mile run. I don't think that's completed in one day, bro. I think that it might be completed continuously, but I think she's going to have to be awake for more than 24 hours to do that.
No.
112-mile bike ride, dude, that's going to take a long time.
Dude, where the fuck are they going? How do you get back?
Well,
I guess they can figure out a track.
No, they could do it on, it depends. I feel like it shouldn't, it's not that it shouldn't count, but there's definitely an asterisk next to it if you do it on an exercise bike rather than a real bike on the street. But that might be how it's being done with an exercise bike. Because it is hard to find a 112-mile stretch you could ride a bike on.
Yeah, that actually sounds dumb saying it like that.
Imagine it was, well, the pool you can do it.
Imagine going to Wildwood and back.
There are, and I'm sure this is how hers is being done. The pool part is going to be done in an Olympic pool where she's just going to swim back and forth. Imagine if for the bike part, you just got on a track and just continuously run the track.
That'll be horrible.
The bike. And then the same thing. When you finished with the bike, you just hopped off and then ran around the track for 26 miles.
Dude, you ever get on the treadmill at the gym and put the incline up and go for like 25 minutes, a half hour, and get off and your legs are like, what? Like, how the fuck
well, that's
do
what
that?
Yeah, that's what happens. But I do that. I don't run, but I do that often. I put an incline walk. Another tip for you fatties out there: incline walking for a long period of time will burn fat better than any other type of cardio.
Yeah, you don't have to put the speed up high. Just
Best
put
thing you could do to burn fat is weightlifting, because then your body's going to burn fat even after you finish exercising, like to fuel your muscles. But after that, I would not suggest like running or anything like high pace. I would say slow pace for a long time, cardio.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta get back to the gym.
Has that been it for 94? Dude, I think we might have went. I don't think we went longer than ever, but we definitely are up there. I've never seen 2,000 on the. I don't know if I've ever seen 2,000 on the bar count before for us.
I don't know. It's possible.
And I gotta piss so bad.
It was a good one. The nation's gonna enjoy it.
So yeah, Instant Beef Board's back. Hopefully, we'll add a little more to it.
Hopefully, by next week, Kevin Cooney has given us a response.
Dude, like
just a response.
Like we said, you like the first thing we posted, you watched it immediately. So stop acting like you don't see it now. Like,
right, and we posted the screenshot. It's there.
Let's get over the charade, dude. Like let's get over the games, bro. I just want to hear from you. Like, what happened? What happened? Who's the fraud? You or Hilary Music? Tell me. Find out next week, possibly on episode 95. But that's been it. Episode 94, No Limit Podcast. We are here forever. Peace.
Love yous.
It's a no limit world we live in.